Hello everyone, this is Dr. Horowitz coming to you from a small town in Connecticut where I currently reside with my wife and my dog. I'm coming to you at a period that can only be described as the most tumultuous and challenging that perhaps we've had in American history, certainly in my lifetime. I don't think any one of us could have predicted the magnitude of the crisis and the pandemic that we and indeed the world are facing in this current environment. And yet, I'm here to introduce you to a topic that may seem somewhat unrelated, called leadership and interpersonal behaviors in an organization. And rightly, we recognize it as part of a body of courses and knowledge that comprise the organizational leadership course. And it's right that we do that, and it's right that we do that during these times. And maybe especially during these times, because the emphasis in this course will in fact be on leadership. And we'll examine what this elusive enigma called leadership really is. How do you know it? How do you define it? It's been very challenging over the decades for people who began to study this dynamic and quality. We've heard terms like, are leaders made or are they just born? And can you learn to be a leader? And we'll take all of that on and find out where we individually fit in whatever criteria we investigate as to what leadership, really is. And I say now more than ever, because in every arena of our society, from our families to our communities to our nation as a whole to the world being more interconnected than ever before, we find ourselves needing to interact and exchange ideas with people who may be and are highly diverse, that we find ourselves engaged with, particularly in the workplace. The folks we work with come from various unique backgrounds and have different values than we do. They see the world differently than perhaps you do. And yet our challenge is not only get along with folks in the workplace, but if you have this unique characteristic called leadership, you are compelled to use that, let's call it a gift for the moment, to motivate others to achieve the vision that you as a leader set and motivate those people to maximize their productivity. How do you do this? Well, one will be yourself as someone that employees and colleagues and staff would emulate by your behaviors. So it's not going to be what you say as much as what you do that will also define you as a leader. And this ability to motivate others to follow you is this strange combination of traits that are hard to define, including charisma, if you will. But in some ways, it's one of those things where you know it when you see it. We've all grown up and maybe participated in groups or clubs or a circle of friends in which no one ever said, let's have a vote on who ought to be our leader. It just was obvious. What is it that made that person? Think back, if you will, on that individual, and what was it about that person, their personality, their looks, their intellectual abilities, whatever it was that instantly identified them as the person who spoke for your group. And certainly in the greater society, we've seen people, celebrities, politicians, business leaders, that we just knew when we looked at them, or they said two words, that they were in fact a member of that unique special group, if you will. So where does behavior come into this? Well, it's hard to lead anybody if you got nobody to follow you? And in order to get people to follow you, in addition to your, let's say, charisma or vision, there are unique personalities and characteristics that each and every one of us either inherits through our biological DNA, if you will, or certainly are the product of our cultural programming, our experiences within our families, our education, and the greater society that make us who we are and value what we do. So this course is going to be about this two-headed animal, if you will, this combination of leadership and a great understanding of what interpersonal behaviors are motivated by, and examine, as an emphasis, we personally, out of our assessment, decide who we are in this mix of leadership and following. And it doesn't mean one has to be a leader in the sense of how we're going to define it to make you effective. There is no question. Most of us are not, nor are we likely to be the Martin Luther Kings, the John F. Kennedys, the Barack Obamas, if you will, Ronald Reagans of the world. But we can indeed learn from the research, learn from activities, learn from a range of assessments that we will conduct both in the leadership arena and the interpersonal behavior arena that will allow us to gain a framework and a philosophical sense of where we fit and what the work we need to do both individually and in the leadership capacity to maximize the vision and goals and objectives of our businesses, our organizations, wherever they may be. So that's where we're headed. And you'll find many activities, and again, as I say, many assessments, because the emphasis will be on not theory, but on reality. So you ought to be able to leave our course with a very good perspective on who you are as an individual, including areas like your ability to be emotionally intelligent, culturally proficient, so that you are a collaborative colleague to begin with, and perhaps new insights into where you fit in this elusive scheme and personality trait of leadership. So with that, and during these very sobering times, I want to invite you to come along on this journey. I know many of you are facing personal, professional issues of every kind that were maybe unimaginable just a few months ago. But together we will continue moving forward, engaging ourselves in the learning process, which is what we as students and instructors are here to do. So we'll do it in a responsible, adult-like manner, and hopefully with compassion and kindness we'll engage one another, share our stories, if you will. Much of it will also be through the virtual magic of technology, including our Zoom capability, so that we will be able to indeed interact as much as we can on a personal level while still keeping our social distance. With that, I say I am delighted to be working with you, recognize the difficult time we are all experiencing, and I leave you with the express wish that you stay well, stay healthy, stay safe, and be close with those you love more than ever before. Dr. Horowitz, coming to you from Ridgefield, Connecticut.